Test. Test, test. 1, 2, 3. Test, test. 1, 2, 3.
Kia ora. Calling Uncle Mark, Marcus and Julius Copius.
There's one way to find a lost and found.
Ka tiakera e te whare tēnā tātou katoa. Tuatahi ake ana e mihi ana ki a koe kura. Au tira koutou, ko tō iwi o te Ātiawa Taranaki whānui. Ka rere hoki ngā mihi ki a koutou Ngāti tō rangatira. A koutou manaki nei e nei whenua taurikura tātou tēnei ka mihi ki a koutou. Au tira ki a koutou te hunga i a takitaki haere i a tātou karakia i te ata nei. Kia rere pai au i ngā mahi o tātou rangi tēnei ka mihi ki a koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Ka rua e tika ana, kia mihia, tō tātou mokopu Wānanga, Tom. E iri mai nei, i te tuarongo o tō tātou whare o te hono ki Hawaiki. Mōna, mei kore ake ia, ko kore pēr tā tātou kaupapa i te rangi nei. Mōna e pupuri nei te mauri o tā tātou kaupapa o te mātātuhi ki te papa. O tira, ki o tātou tipuna, iri mai ana i te mahau o tō tātou whare. Ia ta manaki ana, ia ta mātaki ana, ia tātou mahi tēnei ka mihi ki a rātou ki a rātou, tātou e pai nei ki a tātou tēnā tātou katoa. E tika hoki ana ki a rere ngā mihi ki a koe pāpā, ki a koe tā, au tira, ki a kurangatira, a kutuakana, a kutuahine o te uhi a Mataora. A koutou e tāna i ngā ruau o te moko ki runga, ki te kiri o te tangata tēnei ka mihi ki a koutou, tēnā koutou. Ka mutu aku mihi ki o tātou kaiwhiwhi i te rangi nei, au tira o te roa ngātu o tēnei kaupapa. A koutou, kua mai marire, ki te riro e nei moko, au tō tātou wā, kua rangatira tā tātou kaupapa i a koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Wā tēne moa ana Campbell taku ingoa, hei tino ngā iwi o Ngāti Prau, o Ngāti Awa o Ngāti Kahungunu, he ringa he waiwai no tō tātou whare no konei no te papatonga rewa, nei e mihi nei ki a koutou katoa. Ko riro mā māua, ko māhinarangi Manuel, te wāhi ki te ata whakataki i a tātou kōrero, mo tēnei wahanga mo Matatea, mo te mātātuhi ki te papa. Te māhinarangi nei he krewa tiki, he tamāhine, ki te Ricky Manuel, ki tō tātou tangata, ki te ringata, ki te tohunga whakairo, ki te tohunga tā moko, e ata tā ana, i tāna kaiwhiwhi, te kokona o tō tātou whare, ko riro mā māua, te wāhi ki te whakataki i a tātou kōrero i tēnei rā, tēnei ka mihi ki a koutou. Paku housekeeping e te whānau, te wāhi ki a tātou whare paku, kei tā koutou taha mauine, hipātu i tā tātou toka mauri, kei reira te whare paku, mehe mea he raru, he ahi he ru whenua rānei, ka ata, mā tātou kaimahi o te papatonga rewa i ata tohu, ki whia tātou haere ai, me era mo moa huatanga katoa. He oi anō hare i te mea hi ana kia tōrua ngā kōrero. Nei kei te kaupapa o te wā. Kei aku rangatira tēnā koutou kua tau mai ki Wainganu i a tātou. Ka tuku kau i te rākau, ki a koe mahinarangi ki te āta, whakataki kia tīmata a tātou kōrero, mo tēnei kaupapa, mo Matatea tēnā tātou katoa.
Tēnā tātou katoa. Welcome to today's panel talk. We have a wonderful lineup with us today. Kua tai mai tēnei hunga ki te tautoko i te kaupapa o te rā, which is repatriation of tupuna, repatriation of mātauranga, repatriation of te ao Māori. Thank you so much for coming. I think ka whakawhiti tātou ki te intro i te hunga e noho nei. Then we'll have a couple rounds of questions, which will leave us with about 15 minutes of audience questions. Ka pai? Ka pai. Well, kia tōtika te haere ki tā tātou ki speaker tuatahi. E te whaia e hine. Tēnā koe. Sorry, let me get my cards in order. Uri o Ngāti Porou, uri o Ngāti Kahungunu ki Porangahau. She's a wife, a mother, a nan to the nation. Though married into Tiki Tiki, it's the place she calls home. With a strong foundation in Hauora, her career has spanned over 2 decades in the mental health space. She currently serves as the manager of Ngāti Porou, Te Oranga Hinengaro, where her leadership and deep cultural insight continue to uplift whānau across the rohe. Her passion for moko and the moko movement runs deep. Since the early days of Moko Papa, she has stood alongside the kaitā, offering not only her skills, but unwavering support. Whether it's accessing hospital resource or encouraging international doctors to lend their expertise. She's been quite a force behind the scenes. In the early days when the fear of making mistakes loomed large, she helped shape a clinically safe environment for moko practice. Her presence has been pivotal in supporting the moko journey of various kaitā moko as a trusted tuara. Hine hei, tēnā rawa atu koe te whaia.
Kia ora.
Is that on?
Kia ora. Oh, yeah.
Kia ora. I wanted to start off real quick with your personal connections to moko kanohi. Would you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. I guess that's not quite what you told me you were going to ask me, but so I didn't actually prepare that. But yeah, mine, over 20, what did we think, 23, 24 years ago now, I received my moko kauai at Toi Haukura. And I was privileged to receive it, obviously, from Tā Derek, but also from, and with Nani Rawunia Tikani. And I had originally approached then Derek, and asked him about getting my moko with Charlotte. Charlotte, my tino hoa, Charlotte Tikani, and Gibson. Must not forget that Gibson. And so her and I went to see him, and I think back then it was purely about restoring it for my whānau, just for my whānau, because, well, I hail from Ruatoria, and there's lots of moko. There was lots of moko already there, thanks to the Rastafarian movement, and then our other colourful friends as well. But I wanted to make sure that that my children had access to tūturu moko. And so that's where my journey began. I think my journey is a little bit time-consuming, and I don't really want to go into that if that's all right. Only because I know how much time I've got, and I've just found my go. And my go is, when I think about moko and my relationship to moko, my first thought was to go back to the moko papa, the beginning of moko papa. But then I thought, actually, just before moko papa, we had kāhui tara. And the kāhui tara was really the most binding connection for wahine Māori with moko kauai, and was a very strong space for us to be in a group of wahine in a time when it wasn't as acceptable as it is now. But then I thought actually a step back from that is whāriki. So that's probably where my relationship with moko is, with whāriki. And I love whāriki, I love the concept of whāriki, which again was given by Derek. And I didn't understand it at that time. And I want to say to any wahine moko kauai, any past or present and gonna get moko kauai, that whāriki is so important. And I didn't know that until the day I lost mine. I didn't appreciate it until the day I lost my whāriki, Nani Rawinia. Because on that day, and I hear lots of people telling my story about the day I got my moko kauai, but actually, there's only one person that knew my story the same as I did, and that was her. Her and I shared a different remembrance of that day. We remembered different things about it, the stillness of the morning and the karakia that we had before we went to Toihaukura, the wairua that we had there, the kōrero that we had with each other, the moments that we shared with each other. And I can tell you that Auntie Nani Rawinia wasn't supposed to be my whāriki. My whāriki was supposed to be my two cousins, who were living in Matatea, by the way, and they both know who they are. And on the day, the two of them didn't turn up. And Derek had prepped us had this kōrero to us about whāriki and the importance of us being a whāriki for each other, to hold each other in that space. But they didn't turn up. Now I know I can't count on my whānau. But when I was, because I was supposed to be the third on the table, but when they didn't turn up, and Derek, he just says, those of us that have been done by Derek knows that he just taps his table and you know that that's time to hop on. And I hopped on that table and I was worried, and I said to him, what if they don't turn up? And he just said, someone will turn up. And then by the time I'd finished, and he looked around and he asked the wahine there who was going to be my whāriki, and Nani Rawinia had already been working behind the scenes with Charlotte and them, and she was my whāriki. That was the beginning of my relationship with moko. Hopefully I'll get the opportunity to talk a little bit more about whāriki, but yeah.
O tāwhiua. Tēnā koe i ra kōrero. A kia tahuri ki a koe, Papa.
Ka pai. Mā Kōpua was raised in Mangatuna by his old people and is considered a historian and a professional artist and tohunga. He hails from the tribes of the East Coast. He was a master carver for several meeting houses, both on the East Coast as well as the lower North Island. He is part of a group who was kind of responsible for the reinstatement and the revitalisation of moko, ki konei ki Aotearoa. Mark has been employed in many national and international roles, and one unique role has been to provenance artefacts. For many years, he was a board member of the National Māori Art Advocacy, Toi Māori. He has trained several moko artists and continues to work as a moko artist and design consultant, in addition to holding the position as a co-director for Te Kurahuna. He is a confident facilitator of whānau hui, and his approach of healing is celebrated and spoken about by communities as he embraces his unique skills as a storyteller and keeper of ancient Māori knowledge and whakapapa. Kei te tohunga, kei te Papa Mark, tēnā rawa atu koe.
Kia ora, kia ora. Tēnā koe. Koutou, tēnā koutou.
Ko tā tātou kaupapa o tā tātou kōrero o Matatea i te rangi nei, ko te whea, ko ne experiences. Nā reira, kua waimari e tātou, i nei hunga kua noho mai nei, ki o tātou taha i te rangi nei, ka toro atu, ki te momo ki a Auntie Hine, ki a Papa Mark, kua roa e mau moko wana, au tira, ki te momo ki a Rob, ki a Rāwiri, mau moko wana, i o rāua wāhi, i o rāua takiwā, au tira ki a Erena, ka amutu ki a tātou rangatahi anei e noho mai nei, a koe o ko te kaupapa o tā tātou kōrero. Nā reira, ka tuku i te rākau ki a koe pāpā, tēnā kōrero mai. Could you share a little bit about your background as a kaita and also an early receiver of moko kanohi?
Well, I think one of the fortunate things for me was where I grew up and who raised me, because they were of an older generation, and so that meant that I was exposed to older people and their kōrero, and they used to talk about which was the best racehorse on the paddock. But they also used to talk about whakapapa and all those sorts of kōrero, kaumātua, kōrero, karaua kuia, around the table. And I often share this little story about I used to wake up in the morning and they're all sitting around the table and they'd say to me, "Oh, I moe tōku e te pōra." And of course I got pikaru in my eyes and I said, yeah, I moe au. And they said, "Oh, how tō moe, what was your dream?" And I said, I was just making it up myself actually. And I said, "I moe au mo taku mama." And then, of course, all these kaumātua would quickly charge to their Bibles and they'd start to have a look through their Bibles. And, it would make you think that you're about to get your dreams read. And they did read their dreams because they said, "Oh, yeah, there's Mummy's boy at race 10 at Ellerslie." But one of the things that was beauty about that is that all these old fellows, they used to tell yarns to each other across the sitting room and the lounge or the dining room and so forth, or out in the backyard. And so you get privy to this way of communicating via pūrākau. And there's all sorts of gossip that goes on and e rā momo kōrero, and you eventually pick it up, how they communicated with one another. You also eventually pick up all the whakapapa, and especially used to travel with my dad on his journeys on his tractor, and he would talk about the different hills and who the iwi that lived on there. So that was the background that I grew up in. I roto anō i te reo o te kāinga. And so that was really the starting point which drove me to initially. And of course, going i te taha taku māma ka haere tau ki rungi ngā marae o te kāinga. Well, there was only one or two maraes at the kāinga, but engari ka haere atau ki reira, ka rongo i ngā whai kōrero, ngā karanga, era mahi o te marae. And of course, that builds your character, builds your knowledge base, your world view, and it also built the enthusiasm in me to go down the path of being an artist to build marae, and which I did. I eventually, while I was at boarding school, a close friend's father of mine was a close friend of mine. His dad was a master carver, and just looking for somebody hungry enough for him to teach. And so he taught me as much as he could in the time that we had. And so by the time I left college, I was already used to chisels and so forth. And I went straight into a project that was restoration at the beginning. Funnily enough, I talk like it's fabulous, but I was only there for a week. And the restoration was over, and it was at Linda. Kei konei tōku e Linda. It was at their marae at Kokohino. I was only there for a week, and our boss was her dad, Hireni Moko Mead. And but then we came back and we started building Te Herenga Waka Ikonei at Victoria. While we were there, so I got involved in all these projects of building marae, like Ricky and that, and eventually, I can't remember how many down here I worked on, and then I went back home over to the Tairawhiti, and I tell you, the Tairawhiti at that time had hardly any carvers back home, And then this fella turned up back home, and I walked straight into a job at Awatere Marae, and then went on to Tūparoa, and they're all about 8 people that live out there. And they got a marae that can cater for 400. But I worked out there at Tūparoa, and then a house that I built here burnt down. At the same time, I was working on a project. It burnt down hiangas. And so I had to come back and recarve that one. And during all that time, I got involved, even at Herenga Waka. I ran into a man called Bruce Blackridge, which is a name that often pops up amongst the moko artists. And today one of his students was here, Shane Jones, not the Shane Jones that we all get hoo-ha with. He was at Victoria at the time too. But this is another Shane Jones from Otaki, and he became a student to Bruce Blackridge. And I don't know if any of you spotted a man walking around with a carved face today. And so I met up with Bruce Blackridge. He ended up going down. I don't know, I'm not too sure if Ricky had met him, but he was living down in Diamond Bay, down in Ototahira. And it kind of like sparked an interest to get involved with moko. And, you know, being that way inclined, we had a haka team down here, and I was the only one that, and there's some of them that are here tonight, and I was the only one that used to draw the mokos, and I used to ended up looking like a pussycat because no one knew how to draw, knew how to draw moko rights. But it was a handsome pussycat, I have to tell you. It was a lion, the king of the jungle, he was. But all that experience builds you into where I eventually went and was to become a moko artist. And to be really honest, in the carving world, I'd gotten to a point where I was the head of the project. And eventually when you get to that space, and you love carving so much, but you get to that space and you become the person that rings up and growls Carter Holtz because your delivery hasn't arrived. You're the one that goes down to the bloody pub and tells your kaimahi, get the hell out of the pub, you're getting paid, you know. So you end up doing all that rubbish that I decided to pull away from that. I didn't want to be that, I just wanted to carve. And so I thought, oh, well, I'll become a student again and learn how to tattoo. And you are definitely a student. You have to learn how to make your own machine, and most of the time you're fixing your machine. All that sort of mahi goes on. And eventually you progress and you become more and more efficient. And I think one of the things that I did in my own journey was insist on being part of just bullying my way into the tattoo world and go to the conventions and those sorts of things and meet all the right people. Because in those early days, technology that we use was the hardest thing for us to come across. And there's all sorts of horror stories, you know. You pinched the first aid kit so that you could have a set of gloves and you could practice trying to be clean. And you didn't have too many gloves, so after you used them, you washed them and hung them out on the line. Horrible stuff. Then someone wise tells you, and even though the fellow wise tells you was my cousin, the doctor, he gave me a boiler as a sterilizer. I said, "Are you sure I can use this?" And he goes, "Yes, Crow, you can use that." And so I didn't really trust him, even though he was a Dr. Pat. Yeah, so you had to learn how to, and of course, I think one of the things that we went through is that crew of early artists in the moko world was trying to battle with our own people about this should happen. That was the big battle. And, well, it was in mine, you know, a lot of my uncles, oh boy, yeah. They just thought I was just typical hianga. Are you sure your fish corp was, you sure you belong to them? That sort of approach towards me. And but you just have to, you know, show a turtle back and rawhide and just believe in what you are attempting to do. And just push through it. Well, I know for me, because I had to go into, that was my primary income. And so you have to really, really commit to the kaupapa as much as it is to try and make an income. But if you believed in the kaupapa, everything else will follow behind that. And so that was the path that I took. Believe in what I was doing was the right thing for us. It was at the back end of all the, you know, signing the reo thing to make the reo an official language of the country. It was on the back of all those things, the Pura Kaupapa Māori movement, the Kohanga Reo movement and all that, it all came on the tails of that type of movement. So it was bang on for us to push moko. And now, of course, one of the key things that's beautiful to see is not just that there's, like this room today is flooded with moko mataora, flooded with moko kauai, but not only that, but it's flooded with the new generation of artists. And that was one of the key things, I think, that I had in my mind way back, was we need to flood the nation with us. And it seems to have worked, bro? It's kind of worked. Because today was a great indication of that it's what we were trying to do, we achieved. Ka nui tērā.
Ka pai tēnā koe e rā kōrero rangatira, e hika mā kōpua.
Now, somebody who needs no introduction, but is going to get one anyway. Rawiri Waititi, co-leader of Te Pāti Māori, Member of Parliament for Waiariki, a proud uri of Te Whānau Apanui, Ngai Tai, Te Whakatohea, Ngai Tūhoe, Ngāti Awa, Te Arawa, Ngāti Tūwharetoa, Ngai Te Rangi, Ngāti Ranginui. Rawiri is a father of 5, is an iwi leader, kapahaka practitioner, and a proud wearer of tā moko. His moko, whakapapa, and reo Māori are central to how he represents his people, both on the marae and in Parliament. In 2020, he reclaimed the Waiariki seat for Te Pāti Māori, and since then has been a tireless advocate for whānau well-being, justice, te tiriti o Waitangi, and giving a voice to the rohe. Moko is clearly part of the way you move through the world, but what did moko mean to you growing up?
Thank you for that introduction. What it tells me is I can apply for a few grants across some of those iwi. Ngāti awa tēnā tātou. I'm not asking whānau apuri pōhara katoa. But I just want to acknowledge the whānau apuri branch of the Māori Women's Country Institute down here, knitting their blankets and stuff down on the corner here, which is a reflection of my upbringing, actually. Moko wasn't very prevalent back when I was younger, and there wasn't too many people wearing it. And I think the closest thing we got to moko was some of my uncles. With some of my uncles that lived and hailed from a little place called Raukokore. No. And it was a different kind of hail back then. Ora, right. And so that's the only type of moko I saw. Was a Ford on the forehead or FTW on the neck. There might be a koru here and there, but I think that was the only exposure I had to moko growing up, with my uncles They were in the gang. And probably growing up, I never had ambitions to wear moko because I didn't see it as we see it now, as my babies see it. And so the transition, I just listened to Uncle Mark's kōrero, the transition from where moko was to where it is today is absolutely beautiful. The journey of moko, because I don't think we're at the destination yet. So I've turned up here today and people are doing one person in 2 days. So I know that henare rushed through my face like a speed bump. And so what it tells me is that moko is still evolving. And as it evolved through the years, it wasn't until my brother here, Rob, and my sister Scylla turned up to Kapahaka, then saw the true beauty of moko right in front of me, breathing in front of me. And then hounding me, right? Because they're relentless. It was the relentless pursuit to growing the market, to growing moko. Moko of the world was the catchphrase. And so when these fellas turned up to Te Whanapiri Kapahaka, you first might have been the only ones wearing it then, They may have been the only two wearing it. Them and Poto were the only ones wearing moko at that particular time. And so Whanapiri, just in the last 15, 20 years, have gone through a huge growth of moko. And we were all brought up with those same kōreros. So I was brought up by old people too. And they constantly looked at Scripture. And Scripture kind of influenced the way they thought about things like moko. Let's just be honest. There. And so when I asked my pakeke about even entertaining the thought of maybe wearing moko, their first thing is, oh, only old people get it. Only special people get it. Only chiefs get it. Only this got it and that got it. And I looked at Rob and Scylla and I not that they're not a chief or something, or special, or half a tongue or something. It's just that I could see people of my age, people of my who I grew up with, wearing moko, and in actual fact, lightning didn't come down from the sky and struck them in the ass. Because that's how it made you feel. Something bad was going to happen to you. Ne, tapu and ihi and wehi and all these things were words used as a deterrent, not as something to attract you to moko. Right? So, my wife and I, we thought about getting moko, so we had a date. And 2000 and what? 2006. Both of us decided to get our moko. Too much, eh? Too much. And she got it by herself. Hey, uncle, remember that? Mm. So when he's talking about pussycat, I need to pussycat kei kone. And so my wife and I, we were going to get out thing 2006. She got it on her own. And she held her moko for 11 years before I decided to join her. Pussycat, yeah. That other word on its own, it is inappropriate. Just don't say cat by itself. So 11 years later, I finally grew from a pussycat to a lion. And so 2015, Kauaitango held its first mokopapa Wānanga. And if it makes anything better in this story, I took 11 people with me. and we took 11 people from different whānau within our community. And so 2015 was the birth of something really beautiful in our hapu, and it's been going ever since. And I'm proud to say, since 2015 to 2025, we've done well over 110 faces at their mokopapa. Albeit they're all speed bumps now that I know how it all works, hey, Henare and Johnny. But it's a beautiful kaupapa. And from then on, there's probably not a unmokod face in my community. The ones that have no moko really are the ones that are of that generation. Yeah, they're New Zealanders. This is not live, eh? I know fellas like me get in trouble for saying things like that. But every time somebody comes off our tables at our moko papa with their moko, we always say, another life saved. Because the rest are still on ICU. So if you ever got a moko in this room, kia ka, kia tere, before beep. Yeah. So that's my journey with moko. I'll hand it over to half two.
Rawiri Waititi e te iwi.
A bai ko hoki mai ki au, ki te New Zealander nei e noho mai nei. Kind of feel a bit naked sitting next to our panel I ko lei e hika wā. Here I anō, I'd like to welcome someone whose craft speaks through sound, yes, but whose voice and face have long carried moko and its kaupapa. E hika mā Rob Ruha. Rob Ruha, a much-loved composer, performer, and cultural leader from Te Whānau Wāpanui and Ngāti Porou. Rob is known as the pioneer of haka soul, blending the power of kapa haka and Māori traditions with contemporary music to tell stories of whakapapa, protest, and identity. His moko and art practice sit at the heart of his work, which has been celebrated with many awards. Beyond his own music, Rob is a mentor and champion for the next generation of Māori artists and a strong voice for creativity, culture, and community here in Aotearoa and beyond. I hika mā tēnā homai te piki paki paki ki a Rob Ruha.
Oh, hoi no tēnā tātou. Me ana ki a koutou katoa. Me ana ki te kaupapa nei. I just wanted to say firstly that I remember the last time that there was a kaupapa here, 2004, when we had this, but it was pehas everywhere, and that was amazing. And then coming here this time around has been, I think we spoke about it last night, the Women's Welfare League over here. That the kōrero last night by our papas and tūhi that were on the stage last night was mind-blowing. It was mind-blowing and it was soul-shifting. So I want to mihi to our whānau of tūhi for just creating a powerful waka for us to all jump on. And waka pāpā nei, Uncle D, Uncle Mark. Me, Johnny, Henry, it is heaps of us. We all talk about the times we used to follow them around like a like a fly to shit. Follow them around like the moko groupies. And we used to go to all the kaupapas that they used to run. Moko papas in sheds, moko papas at schools, moko papas at Toyokura, moko papas at the marais. And while they were doing their thing, we would be just around the peripherals observing people, observing snarky comments, observing the backstabs, and then observing the strength of our papas to go forward anyway. And I was 24 when Uncle Mark did my face, and the reason why I got my face done was because I was bullied by my aunties in the Kāhui Tara. And because I was just minding my own business at Uncle Mark's. I was playing solitaire on his computer. Oh, you know, and the other thing, when we used to follow them around, you know, we've seen all of the fads too. You know, Uncle Mark, he used to do his designs on the computer and then show the design first. And, oh, yeah, and then next minute the design go over here, sellotape over here, sellotape over there. And so then we went from that into the white ink. And then we went from that into the freehand stuff. So we got to see progression and moko alive in its true form. We got to watch our papas pioneer and build something on the fly. And us knowing that we were going to be the beneficiaries of their toil. And like everyone now, we look around, like we've been looking around this room over the last few days and going, I want to twink mine out and start again. Because my mum was over 20 years old and they got flash toes nowadays. But it's been a privilege actually to witness all of the behind the scenes things that have made the moko movement what you see. We've been able to see the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, and that's been a privilege for me. Nā reira, mihi ana ki waku pāpā. And then we hear all the karakias going forward, and then even at the pōhiri the other day, and one of the haukaingas, waiatas was one of Uncle Mark's waiatas for moko, and it's just proud moment on top of proud moment on top of proud moment. Watching, being a little kid at that time, 15 years old, now not so 15, watching. And Uncle Mark's kōrero to us was always, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. When Rawiri was the pussycat, Uncle Mark's kōrero was kei te pai. It's only a matter of time. It's inevitable. And then, ana, speed bump mai. Yeah. But it was a pretty long speed bump. I don't know how we did it, but we sang for 11 hours. Yeah, another life saved. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Yeah. And so we've been through all the things, all the huri tuaras, to make this kaupapa happen. And now it's alive. It's flourishing. And our young people have taken up the moko. I get asked all the time, what do you think about all of these young men doing the moko? I said, that was the dream. That was the dream. That's the whole reason why the song Tiki Tapu was written. Because at the time when I got bullied, this is how it happened. So we're at Mang Tokerau. Uncle's outside having what would be called a vape nowadays. And the auntie's walking. There was a massive moko papa. Yeah, beautiful, massive moko papa. There was about 6 of them, all from Uawa. And they're going on, too much our wahine. Yes, too much our wahine. If it wasn't for our wahine, this moko outfit be dead. Yep, be dead. Useless men. Yeah, useless. They're just useless. And I'm just playing solitaire on the computer. And they're over there. But not you, boy. Oh. Not you, eh, boy. When you getting done? Oh, yeah, soon. Soon. Kapai, there's your Uncle Mark out there. You're going to have a talk to him now. Oh, okay. Oh, Uncle. Yeah, boy. Oh, I'm going to get my face done. Hey! That's how it happened. Nothing fantastic. No waiters came down or... No moi ahs happened here. And nothing was pure, unadulterated bullying. Nah. And so when it was Lauri's turn, that was the path already set out. We had to bully him. Yeah. Hui no. So when we finish moko papa, we usually, right, all the Māoris over here, we're going to have a photo. Not you New Zealanders, you fuzz, over there. All the New Zealanders over here, fuzz, hold our cameras. You fuzz, take the photo. You're not coming into our photo. Get out. Yeah, and that's how they all end up getting moko. 110 of them in Kauaitonga here. Yeah, and then we've been to all the moko papas. The first one at Maraenui, 17 years ago. That's the first moko papa in Whanapanui. And from there, the kakano spread like a gorse. And I remember it clearly. Duru Maxwell was on the table. Uncle D was trying to control him because he was doing the actions to all the songs while he was lying on the table. Now Uncle D's getting wild and he goes and gets his Vaseline like this. And he looks down like this. And then Auntie Emma Rogers walks through the door. And then Dudu's mum comes. And I said, too much, Auntie. I tai mai koe. Ai, hara mai ki te me he raho tō te ede. Oh, you see it all, man. You see it all. But the other thing is, you see all the oranga. You see all the oranga. So, I te kāinga I nei. So, go back to that question. What do you think about the young ones getting done? I te kāinga, 13, kei te maumoko. Kare rauraru. No te mea, normal. Because being Māori is normal. Hey, and you think that that's something wrong with that? Well, you go and, ane, talk to Auntie Hene. And you talk to yourself. You're in here, and you're in here that's been abused. Hey, whakatika ia koe. No te mea, wā tātou tamariki, kei te pirangi te reo, kei te pirangi te haka, kei te pirangi te hātu rāne, te hātu rāne. And the moko, nothing wrong with getting the moko. There's heaps of things in this world that they shouldn't be getting. Hey, so you question that. But when it comes to moko, pōhiringia. Oh, no, that's us. And mihi ana kia koutou katoa ki tēnei kaupapa ātāhua tēnā tātou.
Tēnā koe e nā kōrero. We also have the privilege of e rana kōpū, paki mai. A multidisciplinary artist and educator of Te Whānau Apanui and Ngāti Awa descent. Raised within the Māori language movement, e rana's life and work are rooted in whakapapa te reo Māori and the power of creativity to sustain culture. Graduate of Toi Haukura, continues to work there today. Some say she's pretty much the boss. Her arts practice spans painting and Māori performing arts, where she thrives, as we saw yesterday with Te Taumata o Apanui's beautiful performance. I want to start by understanding the world you grew up in and how moko kauai has shaped your identity.
Tēnā tātou katoa. Sorry, I'm not funny like these two, so
Tipu aku au I roto Waikato. And no moko, this was it. Kingi tāwhiao that far back was te tauira ki roto Waikato, ki te wharekura o rākaumanga. So hera I te mea, ka ki te whānui here. Fast forward a few years, one of my senior art teachers was a graduate of Toi Haukura actually, and he taught us how to solder needles together. That was my introduction to tā moko. So he had us in the little side room, like little sweatshops, and we were making these. We learned how to make needles with the. He was actually a huge influence to as into why I went to Toi Haukura. So when I got to Toi Haukura and I already knew how to solder needles together, I was in there. In the interview, I can solder needles, you're in. Yeah, most people don't know how to do that anymore, so it's hidden talent. If anyone needs some needles. As a student at Toi Haukura I taua wā, I also become probably one of the biggest moko papa or moko Wānanga groupies. So it also started to become quite natural. One of the moko Wānanga we went to roto mai o Apu Moana ki Rotorua. And at that time, we had to stretch. We had stretchers all the time. And I was stretching for D. And much like Roll, bullied into jumping on the gun. And so, I te mahi mai a D, te pūhoro Soli. And then he goes, here. And I said, no. Here. That was my one and only turn. And probably his biggest disappointment in the moko world. He kept me on, and I've been real privileged to be able to sit amongst these ones since then. So over 20 years. Enei tohunga, enei kaita, aku tino hoa. E ko taku mahi he manaki I a rātou, I roto I ngā kaupapa whānui. I was also here as a snot-nosed 19-year-old, I think, or maybe a little bit older, 20-year-old, te Wānanga pūhoro I konei. And my job was to do the laundry. So I washed all these fellas' undies. And my kids think I go away and do these mean mahi with these fellas, and I'm still doing their laundry. What did you do? I was like, I did the laundry. But now it's coffee runs, flash coffee, and cook the eggs, and so ko taku mahi tēnei wā, he pērā tonu. Doing it when I was 20, and I'm still doing it when I'm 22, so... yeah, it's a privilege to be able to work with everyone, and like Robina Paul, although we sit and work and live amongst ngā tohunga nei, last night was mind-blowing, and because we work so closely, I think sometimes we forget that our mates are amazing. Yeah, so, and much like us, our kids. My daughter's been asking me for a kauai for 2 years. She's only 12. So she goes to Derek Lardeli. Do my kauai now. Oh, man. I received my kauai 10 years ago at Waioweka. Hei whakamahara ki taku papa I mate. But I got, to be honest, I received my kauai because I wanted it. Not because I felt I had a responsibility, not because somebody told me, not because I had to ask for permission. I got it because I wanted it, and I felt like I can carry it. And at the time it was for myself, but I knew that it was for a bigger purpose as well. And I am absolutely privileged to be able to carry moko kauai in every single space that I go to. Do I feel a responsibility to myself? Yes. But yeah, there is te taha, tērā taha. E mōhio ana kei te tiro mai te ao ki a mātou. Yeah, have a good bloody look and get one too. Heoi, yeah, koina noiho tāku. Yeah, I'm just a housewarmer. I just put the fire on and make sure our mates are comfortable and happy and koina noiho taku mahi, and that's what I feel my responsibility is in this space. He hara mai, heri mai a mātou tamariki, and wherever we can lend a hand, then koina, because I can't do it. Heoi, koina noiho tāku.
I kama, our next two kai kōrero remind us that this kaupapa is intergenerational. Ko te kai kōrero e whai ake nei, ko ta laila, petelo, te pere, e hika mā homai te piki paki. He uri tēnei no Ngāti Awa ki Rangitaiki me Raukawa ki Whare Puhunga. Te kaumā whātau te pakeke, he tau iwa ki te kura tuarua o ngā tamāhine o Kirikiriroa. E pai ki aia te haere ki wāhi ki roherereke me te ako i ngā tikanga o tēnā rohe o tēnā iwi. E aroha nui ana ia ki ngā mahi Māori pēnei te kapahaka, ka mutu ko ia te manukura wahine o te mauria whiritoi. E aroha nui ana ia ki ngā mahi toi, te maurākau me ngā kaupapa mokopapa anō hoki e hika mā Delilah.
Hiki nuku, hiki rangi ki te tautara pūtawa ki e. He maunga teitei, he maunga rangatira, he maunga tāwhito. Tau he kei hoa ki ngā wai turu rangitai ki e. He wai whakatau hine ngaro, whakatau tinana, whakatau airua. Tau atu ana ki te papa whakatipu a te māpau e. Ka rongo au i te oro, te pere o rongo tangi awa. Tōku whare tīpuna, he karaki a te kai. Ka rongo au i tōku whare auahi, o hana te kiriwera. Te mana whakara tōku hapu, o Ngāti Hāmua e. He whakahirahira te tangata, he maunga rongo ki te whenua. Ko Ngāti Awa taku taura i horei, he mana tuku iho, he pau whenua, he pau tangata e. Ka tauha kai te whare. Tau ana.
E te māraikura te narawa ati koe. Tēnā te ala, would you share a little bit about your journey and what shaped your decision to wear moko kauai?
Kia ora. My journey started a few years ago, I'd say 4 or 5 years ago, when moko papa first got introduced to Ngāti Hāmua Te Māpau and Ngāti Awa ki Rangitaiki, where Auntie Johnny and ngā matareo paipai Aotea come. And the first moko papa I watched my mum and my nanny get done. And I was really intrigued, interested in it. I wasn't really sure. I just thought moko kauai mataura was like kapahaka, and I'd seen chiefs, tohunga. Yeah, I didn't know much about moko kanohi or tamokoero. But yeah, these past few years I've observed, watched. I've been privileged to be amongst Auntie Johnny, Auntie Kylie, yeah, te raropu. And ai whiwhi taku moko kauai tēnei tau. in August. Yeah, I was very privileged, and I'm very proud to be wearing my moko kauai. Hi.
Tēnā rawa ati koe hiko mā tēnā ho mai te piki paki paki ki a Dalla.
Last but not least, Keita Takitimu Cook. He uri no ngā iwi o te tairawhiti no Ngāti Porou, te aitanga hauiti me te whānau apanui. Keita is a year 13 at Manukura, located in Palmerston North. Keita has been awarded the prestigious Sir Edmund Hillary Scholarship to study law and mātauranga Māori at te whare Wānanga o Waikato. Keita lives and breathes haka, and it's her favourite part of being who she is, of being Māori, ko tana ao haka. She sees herself moving home to te tairawhiti at some point in the future to give back to her iwi the mātauranga that she'll gain from attending whare Wānanga. Tēnā koe, Keita.
Kia ora.
Ki a koe hoki te pātai, what was the journey and what shaped your decision to get moko kauai?
Pēnā tātou i kama, tuatahi ake tukumihi ana ki tēnei pai kōrero i te rangi nei, kia koutou, ngā tino toihau, ngā ihopu manawa, I roto i te ao haka, i te ao tōrangapū, i te ao toi, i te ao Māori, te ao moko, te ao. Tēnā koutou. Kia koutou katoa kua tae mai, ngā kanohi tinua tāhua, ngā moko kauai, ngā mataora, tēnā koutou. My journey started probably when I was a pepe. I grew up and I was a pepe taiao. I loved being in the taiao. I loved being probably by myself a lot. I had lots of whānau, lots of other cousins that loved doing heaps of naughty stuff. And I was the one that was by myself, talking to my tipuna, my mum said. I mōhio, I tipu ake au, I raro I te aroha o ku tipuna, ai he pepe wairua ahau, mō te ake, mō ake tonu atu. Moko for me has just been a natural part of my life, and I've never thought about, is it wrong, is it not right to get it, is it the wrong time? I just always knew that, just get it, because he Māori koe, he Māori ahau, he Māori tātou katoa, and that's all you need. That's all you need e te whānau, is you just got to be Māori and you get your moko kauai and your mataora. That's all you need. You don't need to be worrying about anything. That's all you need. He toto Māori. I think, I whiwhi au I taku moko kauai I tēnei tau, July the 5th. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I was done by Mere Ngata, Tinoa tāhua o nā mahi. She's a beautiful kaitā. Ngā mihi nui ki aia. And it was absolutely phenomenal. It was beautiful being there, being with so many other whānau as well that came back to Te Whānau Apanui. So I don't want to say disconnected, because you're never disconnected from where you're from. You just feel whakamā. That's all. You never feel disconnected. You're always connected to home. It's just whakamā because you never grew up there or you go back there for the first time. But there were a lot of people that hadn't been back to Maraenui ever. It was their first time going back to get their moko done. And I saw whakamā. I remember the night before we had to stand up and talk about why we wanted to be there, getting our moko done. And all of these people were standing up saying because of their mental health journey, because they wanted their tamariki to see their mama or their papa and be inspired to get their moko. And mine was just, I've just always wanted it, that's all. And I'm just going to get it. But I don't really know what else to say. Koina, just simple as that. Just always felt like it's been natural, and I want it to keep being natural and keep being better, because tika te kōrero a Rauri, we're not at the destination yet, but we will get there, and I feel that it's going to be beautiful when we get there. Kia ora, tēnā tātou katoa.
Tēnā koe.
E hika mā kua wai mari e tātou i a tātou kai kōrero I te rangi nei. We're in for a feast e hika mā. That was just the intros. Engari e mihi ana ki a koutou anei. Ko rite ki te whāngai, te iwi nei ki ngā kaimāro, ki ngā mātauranga kai a koutou, tēnā rawa atu koutou. I'd like to ask you all a question about your personal experiences in your respective fields, spaces and lives. Ka timata anō ki a koe Aunty Hine. Given your working background in hauora hinengaro and mental health recovery, how have you seen moko kanohi contributing to the wellness of our people?
When I think of my working career in mental health, inadvertently, moko's been there as a healing part of our journey without even realising it. And I'll go back to when I first started, not long after I got my moko actually, one of our Rastafarians from up the coast was in a quite a quandary actually. He'd just come out of psychosis. Well, he was actually just coming out of psychosis with the help of all the amazing drugs that the white man likes to give us. And but he had received his full face from his niece actually, had done his, and she did a beautiful job. But in his mental unwellness, it was wrong. And it was really contributing to the deep, dark space he was in. And it was wrong, he believed it was wrong, because it was a wahine that had done it. And he believed the only thing that was going to make him well was to get the moko removed. And, I'm talking 20 years ago. It was like, shit, I'm pretty good. I'm not that good though. I don't know how to remove a moko. So I thought, well, I'll go and see Derek. That was my only option of how can I help him. So I went to see Derek, and I took this young man with me, and Derek spoke with him, had a kōrero with him about his whakapapa, and I can't go into his whakapapa because one thing you fellas will learn about me is that those Māori things, or those Māori skills, I don't have them. And whakapapa is one of them. I'm useless at remembering them. I'm lucky to know where I live. But Derek went back into his whakapapa and told them of a tohunga that back in the day was a wahine from Tū Whakahiriora. Actually, that's the bit I do remember, and that's where he was from. And that really helped him in his journey, because he had all these modern poisons of these men and women, which aren't in our whakapapa. Don't say that that's a man's world. It was a man that thought of that. Probably a white man too. But for him, that meant the world to him, knowing that he didn't, that his putting context to his mataora, that it was okay. Not only was it okay, that he was privileged to have had a wahine to do his tamoko, because as we know now, there's still not a lot of wahine out there doing moko. And to having Johnny and Nairi and Ani and all of that lot doing it now, that's great. But 20 years ago there wasn't. And this young man was privileged to have had a woman. So that's the impact that moko has on our people. We do have to be careful of the space they're in, and even to the tohunga that are delivering moko, I would put it to you to be careful. And when you reach this stage, most of us are. Well, when I say us, I mean them. But when you reach this stage, but you know, in your growing days, be careful who you're putting moko on, because sometimes people come to us for moko and they're not well. They're not in a space, when I say not well, they're not in a space to receive the depth of it, because receiving moko, as easy and as simple as we make it sound, it's deeper than what then as flippant as we might all talk about it, but really there is a depth that we have to be ready for. And you know, one of my planned kōrero to talk to whānau was about, when I talked about whāriki and the importance of whāriki, is about, and I'm saying this to the wahine, is that, and I always say it, because back in Tairāwhiti, before we have mokopapa, the night before we have a kōrero with kaiwhiwhi, and we talk to them about what they're about to receive and the differences it's going to make to their life, because believe it or not, it does make a difference. Not a difference others can see, but a difference that you can feel as the wahine receiving it. I beg to challenge any wahine that's got their moko kauai to tell me that the wahine that got off the table the day they received their moko kauai was the same one that got on. You're a different wahine when you get off that table. Something, I don't know what it is, because like I said, I'm the least Māori knowing person in the world, but I do know that something takes over. Something comes within you and you become the better version of you. And I don't even know, I can't even explain what that is, but I know that it just brings a stronger sense of wahine out in you. And it makes you more aware of your surroundings and of people that you want to be with, people that you can empower, and people that can empower you. You build on those things once you've received your moko kauai, and they're gifts forever. The gift, the receiving of moko kauai is such a gift, but it's an ongoing gift. It's what keeps coming with it, and the whole aspect that I like to point out to us, or bring back to our wahine, is to never forget where you got your gift from. Never forget your kaita. Never forget your kahui tara that held you. Never forget your whāriki that you shared it with. Because those are your new whānau now. And they're your whānau that are going to be there forever and ever. Yeah, that's kind of like what I wanted to say, because I do like to think the romantic side of life. And one of the other romantic sides of life, which I like to have a little kata with wahine that have got our moko kauai, because we are the world's worst drivers once we've got our moko kauai. And I say that because it's hard to not look in the mirror. It's hard to not see this beautiful wahine looking at you in the mirror. I never thought of it as beauty before I got my moko kauai. And when I got my moko kauai, I never thought of myself as beautiful. I never thought I was ugly, but I just didn't think. I was just a wahine, a mum, or whatever. But beautiful wasn't one word that I would have applied to me. But after I received my moko kauai, I look in the mirror and I see a beautiful wahine looking at me. And it feels uncomfortable to say that out loud. It's probably the first time I've actually said it out loud, to be quite honest, apart from in a little circle. But it is. It's a beautiful thing to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and see this amazing wahine looking back at you. So congratulations to all of you that love that beautiful woman in your mirror, and be aware that that makes us not very good drivers. Kia ora.
Kei te kōkā tēnā koe e rā kōrero, tāhua katoa. Though I don't agree with one point you made, I don't think you're useless, auntie. Aha koa no te kaupapa tonu nei tūtaki ai tāua e rongo ana i tō wairua, he wairua Māori tōu. Ka mutu, kaha kōrero hi ana koe te momo i a tā Derek Lardeli, i a Rere Rose Gold Lardeli, o tira i te whānau whānua te uhi a Mataora. So if the likes of a sir, a lady, and expert practitioners are speaking highly of you, auntie, I don't think you're useless at all.
Building on that whakaro, Papa Mark, can you talk to us about mahi atua? Can you share how you've seen it grow over time, especially in how people are reaching out for it in their healing journeys?
Oh, kia ora, kia ora. Mahi atua. Mahi atua is it's a conduit for us to reconnect back to our tipuna, especially our o tātou atua. And it helps us to put the appropriate lens when we look at our atua, because there's all sorts of debates that go on, mostly in social media, and it's about, you know, what about the female atuas? All those sorts of kōrero. And that, you know, that's the way that we see things now, because our tipuna mai rāno hoki, you know, I think Tongariro is a male, Taranaki is a male, somewhere in between there's a female that they chased after. So our tipuna have been humanizing our environment for many, many years. Rangi Nui is the father, Papa Tuanaku is the mother. But at the end of the day, when we talk about the children of Rangi and Papa, and I look at a even if it's a Taranaki, it's a big, fat, pointy rock. It's a rock. And if I look at a cloud that you see a lot of them here in Wellington, I'm not asking, is that a female cloud? Or is it a male cloud? So it's to help us to look through the appropriate lens, and mahi atua is the vessel that does it. And to be honest, the founder of mahi atua is sitting over there, because it was, when you talk about, you know, moko is this electrifying thing that we use. My wife went to a Wānanga once that was a rumaki Wānanga. It's just a cloud. That grass is just the grass. Anyway, she goes to this Wānanga, and in this Wānanga is our esteemed friend Hemi Tupeti. Hemi Tupeti is talking about atua Māori in this Wānanga, and suddenly her spirit is connected. It's connected. Engari tērā manu. That could be a female manu. All right, are we? Anyway, when you go through some of those kōrero, it elevates your spirit. When you get reconnected using moko, it touches your spirit. It reaches right in there, and this new woman appears. I'm going to keep away from this gender kōrero. Okay. It's haki roto. And yeah, I think if I talk about those sorts of things that help us to reconnect with our whakapapa, that's what mahi atua is about. That's what it tries to do. And it tries to use all our taonga toi in order to help us do that. You know, ka haere tunu tātou ka whakarongo ki ngā waiata a Rob, ka pā mai te wairua ki te whakarongo ake ki ana waiata. Next minute, you know, ka hao a 35. Tātou katoa e waiata nei tērā waiata. So music has this ability to make us reconnect. Moko, obviously, is helping us reconnect with Tom and tōna rahi. Tōna tohungatanga. Even with tohungatanga, it helps us to connect and reconnect. Because, you know, ka tū whakahihi tonu tātou me o tātou pepeha. I've got the best marae on the Tairāwhiti, even though the damn thing is flooded out half the time. It's still, to me, the best marae I got. And the new one will be bloody even better. So, anyway, koera te mahi atua, it's a way and a vehicle to help us reconnect. It started off because he tākuta te hoki taku hoa. It started off I roto I te wahanga hauora hinengaro, you know, kia tino hono o tātou whanaunga e māwiwi ana, e taumaha ana, e ngaro ana, so that they can hono back to their whakapapa and kaora te wairua. Because, you know, colonization has hit us multiple times. Kei te moe tōn tātou, it hits this whala because I roto I te whare mere. The heart of the beast right there. Colonization. And of course, even I roto I te ao o te hauora, they focus very much on diagnosis and medication and research and stuff like that. And mahi atua focuses on relationships, understanding, deepening your understanding, connectivity. That's the difference that mahi atua offers in that world. But not only that, it also offers it in education. It's all about how we interrelate with one another and ensure that that relationship is a genuine one. So koera katoa hoki te mahi atua e mahi e maua mātou tonu, and it is becoming a growing popular thing because mate hia kai tonu tātou te Māori to reconnect with our whakapapa. At first, when we had our Wānangas, you know, when we talked about e ne kōrero mo ngā atua Māori, and you get the ngā mea tino whakapono I roti a rātou, they go noho puku, they don't want to interact, they don't want to, because they're internally, they're being challenged. And we try to talk with them and say that, you know, this is a conversation about the environment. It's not a conversation about your faith. It's a conversation about the environment. And nā reira tunu taku kōrero, you know, when I look at the cloud, it's not a man or a female, that type of thing. It's our tuakana. I roto I ngā whakapapa ko te tuakana tērā. Ki te tonu nei, te tahi pīwai waka, kei te marama tonu au, ko taku tuakana tērā. And so that's koera te mahi atua. And of course, here we go as a marketing practice. If you want to know more about it, there's a book now. There's a book downstairs in the shop that they're trying to sell on our behalf called Mahi Atua. You'll see that book is full of art. The likes of Tulu Makina, who's not here, but his artwork is in there. Mai Tauira, Phoenix Te Aotahi Ngata, her artwork is in there. Poutu's artwork is in there. Nick Tupura's artwork is in there. Those people who have over the years contributed to Lance's work is in there. They've contributed to the growth of that kaupapa are celebrated in that book. Nā reira, ka nui tērā. Kia ora.
Ka pai, ka rere ki a koe kei taku rangatira, kei te whakatinanatanga o te mana motuhake o te tino rangatiratanga. A koe, mahi ana I au mahi rangatira I roto I te rāwhare, tino mihi ana ki a koe me tō tira, e whakatinana ana I rā ahuatanga mo tō tātou iwi mo te iwi Māori. Just wanted to ask, your mahi and the political space intersects with this kaupapa moko kanohi in a powerful way. A tēnā kōrero mai mo te rā huatanga, Chief.
You know, when I was growing up, I remember this old fella they used to call Sonny Scribbles. And he used to follow all the political pohis all over the place. Those that would know Sonny Kepa, they used to call him Sonny Scribbles. And we all knew this kaumātua. And there was another reason why I didn't want moko. For if ever I was called that, well, I'd never. I go into Parliament and Winston Peters says they follow over there with the scribbles on his face. And so, people like that haven't changed too much. But he won't be there much longer. Well, you know what I mean. It's just nature. It's just nature, and it's inevitable, and we won't have to listen to too many people like that in the next maybe 5, 10 years. Yeah? Because there's a type of thinking that comes with those types of fellas. So Parliament probably is the first time I have bear witness to that type of behavior or reaction to moko. I've never ever received that in the public, ever. Which tells me there's an underbelly of people who think the same. Because that fella there is only catering to the 6% of the people that put him there. So I know there's 6% of New Zealanders that think like that. Because they support that type of narrative. I'm just talking about Parliament itself. You know, I was the first since an old fella, Te Moana Nui, who wore moko and 150 years full mataorani. So I'm really proud of people like Nanaia. I'm really proud of people like Elamaine Kopu, who I think also wore moko in there before she left the house. But for mataora, that's quite pronounced in a place like Parliament, that is the epicenter of white supremacy. Why I say white supremacy is it has a job to uphold a system of colonization. The very system that terrorized our people in regards to our reo, our practices, our mahi atua, our moko, our rongoa, our mahi toi. When I read this, the writings of this fellow named Edward Gibbon Wakefield, who was responsible for colonizing Aotearoa. You got to read his book. The first thing he takes out are the artists, the composers, the poets. There. He takes out all of this, what we're looking at up here. Because they are the holders of the whakapapa, the language, the kōrero, the mahia atua. He was also an MP. Featherston is one that coined the phrase, our job is to smooth the pillows of a dying race. Yeah? This is the place I'm working in. Is responsible for all of that. Yeah? And then in 2025, I hear another MP say, that fella down there wearing the half of the South Island around his neck and the scribbles on his face is a direct attack, not at me, but it's a direct attack on the very essence of who we are as a people. Yeah? Our reo, our moko, our art, our mahi atua, all of the things that we've just spoken about. That's a direct attack. He may think it's flippant. It's not a flippant comment at all. And people can flip it off as, he's just a part of a generation. In actual fact, he is upholding the very essence of what that house was built to do. Yeah? And so any of you wanting to be a MP, that's what you're entering into. Yeah? Ko e pō he, you're going to go and make your people's lives better. Or I'm going to get more funding for our health clinic down the road. Me mo heo mai koutou, koe nā hoki, te pūtake o tēnei mea, te kai apo, te kai mahara, te apo tikanga, te apo mahara, koe nā hoki te tikanga o tēnā whare. Koe nā tona mahi. Te apo i o tātou mahara. To take away our remember, so we can't remember where we live. Yeah? To take away our tikanga. Koe nā hoki te mahia te apo tikanga, te apo mahara. So we forget who we are and we forget where we come from. Yeah? So that's the kind of, that's my experience with Moko in that house. It's the first time ever anybody has treated me like that. Yeah? I can go all over the world and it seems like nobody's even blinking an eyelid at you, knowing that you're wearing more. I walk around New York, nobody's even looked at me. You know why? Because they got hairdos, like all sorts of hairdos. Hey, blue ones, purple ones, big ones, small ones. Some of them even blowing off. Hey, because everybody is, it's the land of the free. Me pera pera te kukoro. I Aotearoa nei. If anybody has questioned why I wore moko, it hasn't been Pākehā. It's been Māori. Yeah? And ironically, the person that made those statements, he Māori. And so their job has been to uphold the narrative, right, that has made him a successful colonized Māori. I'm going to say it. Ne? It's not his fault. But it is his fault. Ne? And the internal colonization of our people, and we're all on that spectrum somewhere. Tātou colonization. And again, it's not our fault. But what are we doing to decolonize as a people, and then what are we doing to re-indigenize our spaces in our world? Kia ngā wale eo ki te tipu a tātou tamariki mokopuna, ki ro te tātou Māoritanga. That's not saying we're going back to grass skirts and grass huts, because I've heard that come out of his mouth too. Hey, I'll go back. You don't touch anything that colonization has done for you. It's been good for you. You go back to wearing grass skirts and living in a grass hut. Whaka mutat. Whaka mutat. You know, so you face all of those types of kora. You hear it all the time in the house. That's what he say. That's what he is mainly coming from that man who is comfortable in his colonization and the internalized colonization. Yeah. So when you're in there fighting for your people, you're fighting on not just one front, you're fighting on all fronts. There? So you're not fighting for the oranga of your people, you're also defending. You've got to have a multiple mea. And that can take a thing on your way. I think I might come and be part of your course. Even when you have a look at a bird and it's flying past you, you think, I think that's a female bird. How do you know? So, yeah, kuna hoki, that's all I don't, but I want to encourage more of our people. You see moko everywhere, not just in Parliament, you see it in the courthouses, not just in the docks anymore, but our judges, our lawyers, you know, the clerks. You're seeing it in our hospitals, the doctors, the nurses, right? You're seeing it in our kura, our kaiako, our students. Ne? Kei te mau moko. You're seeing moko everywhere. And our kids deserve to see it everywhere. And moko deserves to be everywhere. Ne? We're seeing it, our Māori Queen, for probably the first time since Tāwhia. Ne? Since Tāwhia o Kikore. Kei te mau moko. Te Queenie Māori. Te kāhui ariki. Tai ake rā ki tāna tuakan. Ne, kei te mau moko. It's beautiful, eh? Tāna māma. It's beautiful. We're seeing it everywhere. So those of you from Tūwharetoa, Gerard, we're coming for you. Te rangi māheu, te ariki o Tūwharetoa. I'm gifting you. Oh. Yeah, well, henare is going. We gift you henare. Speed bump. Yeah. So, koina hoki tāku e whakautu ki tērā. So you're going to be, yes, it's a privilege. Yes, it's a thing that I wanted. But I think it's also, moko is, it's something that, hey, hoa haere moho. And you hear that all the time. So you're in the fight. They're in the fight. Your tipuna in the fight. All those people who are I mate mo te moko, and all the people to come, kei te ora mo te moko. Me pera pia te kukoro. Haere ngātai. So I'll take all those hits until the 5 years is done. And it might be a safer place for our people to continue the mahi in that house. So koe hoki taku whakautu ki tērā pātai.
Me ua ka mahi te tangata I ngā mahi nei koe. O tira e tō tātai pāti e te pāti Māori. Nā reira kei te pāti Māori tēnā koe, o tira tēnā koutou. Mai kore ake koutou I whai reo ai tātou I tērā whare. E kore au e mea I tērā whare o tātou because it's not for us. Engari kei reira tonu koe, kei reira tonu tō koutou pāti e whawhai ana mō tātou. Nā reira kei te rangatira a kei te pāti Māori tēnā koutou.
Ka reire tonu te pātai ki a koe, Rob. You stand in both worlds, kapahaka and the music industry, wearing mataora at all times. How does your moko sit within those spaces, and how do they feel different as you move between them both?
Ka mutu e o tēnā pātai. I actually see contemporary music and kapahaka as the same world. I don't see them as two different things. When I write music, it's all music. When I release songs, so some artists will come out and they'll release a song and it'll go on a Spotify, and that's, you know, that's the main trunk line, or, you know, go onto iTunes, hea-hara. Well, I get the thing of, okay, I'll release a music today. Yeah, that one can go on Spotify. I'll release a music today. That one can go on Tamararo. I'll release a music today. That one can go on the Mokopapa. So I think Māori music, we have the unfair advantage of having multiple platforms, and all of them make sense to us. And all of them are rightful spaces to be releasing our artistry and our creativity. So, moku ake nei, kuina. So, moko makes sense in kapahaka. Well, some kapahaka is still on the vivids. That's all right. But if you want to come to the tour, you got to have that's our new rules. We just made it up. Second. Thank you. But so if we reclaim just Māori artistry and Māori creativity as just being ours, then the world is ours. Doesn't matter where we stand, whether it's in Spotify, whether it's on a Matatini stage, whether it's on a Huiahure o Tūhoi, Ahure o Ngāti Piki Ao, or whether it's on this stage here, Te Papa. It's all releasing music, the whole lot. And I don't I don't discriminate. It's all important to me. I want to say that if it's natural to sing in te reo Māori and natural to have waiata Māori going, then it's also natural to see moko. I was, like, we got reanga things too in the music industry kind of space. And so in my reanga is my brother Troy, Meizirika, Ria Hall. We all did a tour. Dea, when did we do that tour over in Australia? Ages ago. I was only pee not then. We still had CDs back then. And we got a photo of, we did this tour across Australia. We got a photo. I'm the only one with moko. If we did a photo today, all of us got moko on our face. All of us. It's the natural evolution of usness. When we choose to be us in everything we do, regardless of where we are, we can stand anywhere. We can stand, anei, pene me taku pāpā nei, I roto I te whare o ngā porohea ki konei, ki te papa nei, ki roto I ngā mahi toi, on the air New Zealand, on the air anywhere. If we stand down as us, truly as us, we can do it. It's no thing. And these kōreros about scribble, scratch, face and what have you, and you want to go back and wearing the grass skirts and all that kind of stuff, kei te pai, we wear whatever we want. If we want the grass skirt, kei te pai no, we get a grass skirt. And if we want to tart up a grass hut, kei te pai, we'll do that too. We can do anything. We can also do a skyscraper. Hey, and we can also put art on your Air New Zealand ticket when you go and visit the world. We can do it a lot. The whole thing about that whakaiti statement is that what he's trying to say is what those naysayers have been saying about us for years and years and years, is that we never had the capacity. And then if it wasn't for our colonizers, we would have never reached the world. We would have eaten each other to death. Bit of chicken salt never hurt anyone's leg. But it's only those, we start to believe those truths. Hey, we've all been there, and we all got whānaus that believe those truths. But the real truth is pōpō. The real truth is pōpō. You sing pōpō, their song pōpō, we sang it over there, next to Johnny's thing. Pōpō is our international existence. Pōpō is the song that proves us as Māori people are global. And we always have been. And it's only to the back end of that song where we start talking about New Zealand. All those other tipunas, they didn't even live here. No wahoke, no whenua ke, no mautereke. That's we always been global citizens. And we have always done things our way. And moko in music, moko in haka, is just us having a swing at something else too. Moko in Disney. Moko in Marvel films. We never ever thought, as a result of our colonization, that we were allowed into those spaces, let alone had the capacity to participate in those spaces. But I roto, we always knew. We just had to listen deeper. And moko allows us to listen to the real truth, to our true north. Te kataia e tātou. Kataia e tātou, hakua te aha, hakua te aha. And there's a speech that Whaia McClutchy said at the centennial of Praurangi Whare, and she said it to the Te Atarangi Kāhu's speaker, henare tū whāngai. Ka met, henare āwhea tāua whakātu atu ki te ao te mana kai a tāua te Māori. We haven't seen it yet. Engari ka tae mai. So koe nā tā tātou I nai nei whakatino na mai. Whakātu atu ki te ao te mana kai a tāua kai te Māori. Always been there. It's the pō effect. Koe nā.
Tēnā koe e nā kōrero. So it's not about shifting between the worlds, it's about showing up as yourself in every world. And claiming it. Tēnā koe e nā kōrero.
Ka pai no tātou ka kōrero mo tēnei ao o te haka. Nice little segue ki tēnei iho pūmanawa I te ao haka ki a koe erena. I wanted to hear your whakaaro about what it's like to carry moko kauwai in a space where people might be looking to you for confidence or representation.
Now I'm going to talk about toi haukura. There's toi haukura's always. I actually am. Toi haukura's always had one intention, and the intention is that ka hara mai te hunga ki a mātou, ka hoki rātou ki o rātou kāinga. Ko ngā mātauranga katoa, ka maui a rātou ki roto I a toi haukura, ka horapa I te motu. And you'll see that today. And he ahua orite ki ngā kōrero a di ina pō. I haere atu a korotangi ki te tai rāwhiti. So ka haere te tangata ki te tangata to the person he or she thinks is best for them. And koina tā mātou o roto mai o toi haukura. So also segue into taking enrollments for next year. I'm actually doing interviews from 12 to 1 tomorrow out in the cafe. But koina noiho taku, I just wanted to touch on that. And I bet you over 50% of te hunga maumoko I roto I tēnei rūma I tēnei wā I puta mai te Wānanga o toi haukura. Ko rāni e ra tērā. Ko te kaita e kōrero anai mo te kaita, e kōrero hoki anai mo te kaiwhiwhi. So I'm talking, hea hua orite ki te pātai, the spread. Where does I go? And actually, e te o te hunga kāre uru ki te moko class, is what we call it. And ko te, if you want to get into the moko class, you gotta know how to wash the dishes. If you can wash the dishes, mena e manaki tangata. If you can clean the toilets, well then you probably get in the moko class. If not, then you got to come and do painting with me. Engari, I runga hoki tērā, the ones who don't get into the moko class usually go and do moko anyway. And ko ngā ako I roto I ngā wānanga o toi haukura, atu I ngā ako o roto I te, o te wānanga moko, they still attain enough what they need to attain ki te puta ki te ao, ki te whaihaere ngā mahi moko. So, yeah, I'm not going to answer that question because the first one, because I don't think I don't think I'm the only person or feel the way about the influencing people ki te maumoko kei a rātou tērā, kei runga I a rātou tērā. If I somewhat influence somebody, well then he pai tēnā engari, that's not my intention as a kaiwhiwhi. I suppose probably the biggest thing is that we're influencing our kids, and that's enough. I've brainwashed my children. We've brainwashed our children. And when your 10-year-old is asking Derek La Deli
te mahi mai tana moko when she's 10, then we're winning. And I've won. And I'll tell you what, all our tamariki here, they didn't want to come because they hang out at moko papa all the time. And ka mea te kia ki tamariki, kai te haere mate ki te papa ki pōne ki big lights. Wafo, moko papa nga nāra ona come. I'll stay home. Oh, I don't have to come down there for. But I tell you what, our kids know more about moko papa than probably most of you sitting in this room. And they know what it's about. They know what the kaupapa about. Hey, they know how to wash the pots. They know how to clean the whare. They know how to wash the undies. Yeah, so koina pia. Kei te roa haere tēnei wahanga, but koina noho.
Tēnā koe i e nā kōrero. Tēnei pātai ka tukuna atu kia kōrua i ngā rangatahi o tēnei pai kōrero. Still keeping with the theme of whiako and your experiences wearing moko, paint a picture of what it's like to wear moko while still moving in the world you move in. Ha kina kapahaka kura, te hoki atu ki te kura. Talk to us a little bit about how that feels and what maybe you've experienced since getting your kauwai.
I go to Manukura. It's a school down in Palmerston North, and I'm very fortunate down at Manukura. They provide so many opportunities for us there for Māori, and it's not a school under Te Aho Matua, but we don't go as a high school. We just go as a kaupapa. That's how we roll. Manukura's very unique. And it has shaped the person I am today, and yeah. Wearing moko kauwai today, at my kura, I guess I inspire others to get theirs. If anything, it's just they want to get theirs now, way more. And no raru at school, really. I haven't come across any mamai or any people that have been kino. It's actually been very good. Yeah, I'm very lucky about that. But as it should be, as people should be treating others about their moko. Yeah, it's very mamae hearing people think that they know what moko is, think that they can tell us what they think moko is, when where's your moko? Where are you from? You're not a Māori, can't tell us what it's about. But yeah, I would say, to conclude, moko for me is just who I am, and it's not about trying to prove yourself. If you think that you need to prove yourself to have a moko, it's just about knowing yourself and knowing who you are. Ko wai koe no whia koe. Ai, that's me. Kia ora.
Tēnā koe.
Kia ora. I go to school at I go to Hamilton Girls High School in Hamilton. This is my first year of college, definitely a new experience. I've experienced like a lot of new things this year. Te toko i ngā kōrero a keita, I haven't received any, I haven't gotten any kino, like even energy. I haven't anything. What I do like to do though is like not influence but inspire a lot of rangatahi to whai i ngā mahi a ngā matua tipuna ai nei tangata. Engari, yeah, te toko i ngā kōrero. To conclude, takinako koe, takinako au. Tēnā koutou.
Tēnā koe. There was supposed to be another round of kōrero. However, I hate to cut it off here, but I think we can allow maybe 5 minutes pātai from the crowd. Yes, 5 minutes, maybe 2 pātai. If there's anybody eager, 2 mai te ringa, and we'll have a mic going around.
Kia ora. Kia ora koutou. Ko Jamie Waititi ahau, he uri no te whānau apunui, ngā tiparau te raroa ngā puhi. Tēnei ka mihi atu kia koutou. I was hoping other people would ask questions, but they didn't, so I wondered, and I've heard at some moko papa a bit of conversation about this, but hearing about the progress of moko, wondering about your guys' whakaaro for moving moko or having a direction towards gender fluid or non-binary moko. Yeah.
Kia ora. Kia ora. Oh, kei te rongo? Pātai pai tērā. I think that shortly there is going to be a Wānanga or a discussion, basically, or mostly a Wānanga, that the likes of Elizabeth Kerekere Ma are wanting to have so that those discussions can be had. And ko te tikanga kei that they tono ki ngā ringata to put their whakaaro I roto I ngā kōrero. And you fellas just waiting for me to say yay or nay. I oku wānanga, ka titiro atu ahau ki tēnei tū kaupapa te whāriki. Kei te pai tēnā kōrero? Ka titiro atu ki roto I ngā kōrero, hea te aha I roto I te whāriki. Te manawa, te paipai roa, te paipai poto, ngā ngutukura, te pihere, e rā tūmomo kōrero katoa. And ka pāno hoki tēnā kaupapa, tērā tirohanga whakaaro, ki tāne mā ki wahine mā. E hara I te mea, e kōrero ana ngā wahanga I whakahuatia e au, mō te wahine mō te tāne rānei. He kōrero tērā mō tō tū, I roto I te whānau, tō whakapapa, tāne rānei, wahine rānei. And so, with that, it means that what I'm basically saying is that philosophical approach and ideology to understand what's what in the moko and why it's there does not talk about gender issue. It talks about your positioning, your powers, your responsibilities, all those sorts of things that come about from wearing moko. Ngutukura is about your positioning in the hapu, in the whānau, in the iwi, as you progress, as you mature, as your responsibilities grow. It doesn't talk about specific gender issues that we have. And I guess it's because we have those situations where part of our whakapapa includes those rocks, and it includes those clouds and birds and things like that, if you get what I mean. That's just, we can have that as part of the conversation. There are other bits of that conversation that talk about design and creating designs that will cater for that wahanga o te hapori. And that wahanga o te hapori, mai rāno. Hara I te mea he mea hautera. And I'm not certain how our tifuna deal with that, or whether they dealt with it, or were you just part of he Māori tunu koe? I roto I te whānau. I know each community has their different tangata, pera. Their whanaunga is like, pera ke. And where was I going to go? And that's that, basically. But it is definitely something that we do need to. It's a modern day issue, and I think that it's something that we should be discussing. That we should not necessarily have to come to some resolve, but at least have a profound discussion about it, and then put some ideas on the table. And if it is about creating a pattern that is specifically for that, because the last thing we want to do is have sectors of our community be attacked because of the moko that they're wearing. That's just not how that should work. So we deserve to have that conversation. I still feel as though it's not answering a lot of your fellows' questions in your mind, but I mean that's where we're at the moment. Kia ora.
Kei te rere tonu, te Māori. Any more questions? Going once. Going twice. Ka pai.
Ka pai. Tēnā tātou i tā tātou kaupapa i te rangi nei, i tā tātou kōrero i Matatea. Hika mā tēnā kia kotahi anō te wā piki paki mō wā tātou kai kōrero anei i tā tātou kaupapa.
Kia ora whānau. Can I just say before, I just want to, from us anyway, talking about moko, just mihi to our kaitā that we've had over the last couple of days and tomorrow. And to us as whānau that are here, just, have put a big round of applause for the amazingness in this room. And when I talked about whāriki, that and the importance of the day you got your moko kauai or your mataora, the importance that I've seen here today is like Hinare. He was a young fledgling doing his father on the table next to me when I was getting my moko kauai. I think that was your first moko, Nare? Yeah. And so that was all those years ago, and he was there, and those are the things that I remember from that day. So all of you that have got your moko kauai, remember those things, or your mataora today and yesterday, and tomorrow, you poor buggers, 3 days, God. But all of you getting your moko in that over these 3 days, value everything and everyone around you, because one day some of us aren't going to be here, but we're going to be part of your whāriki. We're all part of your whāriki. And I said before, don't ever forget your kaitā and what your kaitā has given you. More than that, don't forget what your kaitā's whānau have given you. They've given you the opportunity to use their partner. I used to just say wife before, but now it's husbands as well. Always remember that behind the kaitā is their partner. And their partners and their children that have had to put up with us lining up, taking up their papa, their nanny, their mum, their dad's time, and taking, allowing us to absorb all that time that really belonged to them. So I want to give a big round of applause to the partners of the kaitā as well. Kia ora. Oh, well, I can talk on all behalfs then. Let me tell you about Parliament right now. No.
Ka vai, tēnā tātou hika mā, tēnā tātou i tā tātou kaupapa. Hoi no tēnei whakakōpani, tēnei wāhi ki a tātou ki a Matatea. E whakairi te tāhu kōrero ki te tāhuhu o tō tātou whare o te hono ki Hawaii ki ngā pātū ki ngā paitara o tō tātou marae o rongo marae roa ki rei ranoho mai ai. Kia wātea kia mahia, te wairua, te tinana, te ngākau, te hinengaro, te whatimana i te arataka tūkoi a rai rongo whakairi ake ki runga ki a tīna. Hui e. Tēnā tātou te whānau pomari e.
Women, or say Gabriel, or woman, or